Hey friends and fam, and welcome back to my channel. My name's Kira. Subscribe if you're new, and without further ado, let's get into today's video. So today I wanted to talk about The Bachelor and colorism. If you don't know, the first Black Bachelor right now is on TV. And I made a TikTok last week, I think, that blew up. It has like 1.4 million views now, talking about The Bachelor. Because, you know, everybody was talking about, oh, we have the first Black Bachelor, we have the first Black Bachelor, so exciting, so exciting. And I was like, yeah, that's really cool. I'm curious if the first Black Bachelor dates Black women. Because, as you may or may not know, a lot of Black men don't date Black women. I go to his Instagram page, and I just am seeing a lot of tiny blonde girls. And I think his best friend's name is Tyler or something. He's supposedly famous for something, I don't know. But he's also white, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. I just found it interesting that he had a lot of pictures with groups of people, you know, and they were pretty much all white people. He had a couple of pictures with like one Black guy or two Black guys. I don't think he had any pictures with Black women. And it's not like, again, it's not like he's a person who doesn't take pictures with people. He has a lot of pictures with people, just not with Black women. And I'm not like trying to attack him at all. I just was using him as an example for something that an ideology that a lot of Black men have, which is that, you know, white, specifically blonde women are like the pinnacle of attractiveness. And you know what? That's not their fault. That's the media's fault. That is fully the media's fault, because when you think of who is presented to be the most desirable, it is always a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white woman. So obviously, when I'm going through his Instagram and I'm seeing a lot of that, it's gonna give me the impression that he doesn't really date Black women. That doesn't always necessarily, though, mean that if he's presented in the right circumstance with a Black woman that he wouldn't pick her. It just means that they probably wouldn't go for Black women, if that makes sense. And again though, the point isn't that he, specifically him, needs to pick a Black woman. That's not the point. Because here's the thing that I think a lot of people miss the point of in my comments, whatever. Preference shouldn't matter. If we were in a world where everything was equal, racism wasn't a thing, colorism wasn't a thing, sexism wasn't a thing, whatever. If we lived in a world with an even playing field, then no, preference wouldn't matter. However, our world doesn't look like this. It looks like this. White, straight, heterosexual, cis men are at the top. Black women, especially when you add on any kind of sexual preference that isn't the standard, or gender identity that isn't the standard, or any kind of disability, anything like that on top as well, down here. Does that make sense? So that's the world we live in. Those are the dynamics we live in. So when Black men, who I looked at a study yesterday, Black men are twice as likely to intermarry, which means marry outside of their race, than Black women. And there's also less Black men to begin with because of mass incarceration and early death. So there's already less Black men. And like in some areas of the world, like the disparity between how many Black men and Black women is actually really big. Like it's like 60 men for 100 women. So 60 Black men for 100 Black women. The study was talking about missing men, and it said 40 missing men in that area. So the disparity can actually be pretty large. If there's already less men, and then some of them are choosing white women, then there's such a small amount left for Black women. But so that's why sometimes Black women will prefer white men, because if they want a shot at getting married, the odds aren't good with Black men. To be fair, if however many of them are colorist and refuse to date Black women, then it's harder for Black women. That is why it matters. That is why preference matters. Because if there's already less Black men, and then the ones that there are gonna go pick a white woman anyways, then Black women are never gonna be with Black men. It's okay, like it's okay if everybody is just mixed then, I guess, from now on, but it's just a little weird. Don't we think? Don't we think colorism is a little weird? Don't we think maybe just like some of the black men should like choose black women first? And I know that some do that, but obviously if you go on the internet, you're not seeing a lot of black men uplifting black women. You're seeing a lot of black men talking about how dark-skinned women are the least attractive on the earth, and how of course they would pick a white woman if one was presented and available, and na. So yes, preference matters. Yes, preference matters, because preferences represent deeper issues, such as colorism and racism. So yes, preference matters. If colorism and racism weren't a thing, then no, preference would not matter. However, once again, our world doesn't look like this. People who gave me that comment were never black women, first of all. Never black women. Usually white people. Could be a blonde girl who was maybe offended because I kept saying that he was with little blonde girls, but they think that the world like looks like this, the people who commented that, and it's not. It doesn't. It doesn't. It just doesn't. It doesn't. Personally, I benefit from colorism more often than not. Like, I have had experiences of black men telling me, like, if we're talking or whatever, like him telling me that I am his type because I'm light-skinned and I have freckles and I have long curly hair, and how that person will never date a dark-skinned girl because they think that dark-skinned girls are loud and aggressive and unattractive. That's happened to me multiple times, and every time I'm like, that's like, you're unattractive now because you said that to me. Like, that is gross that you think like that. So I'm like, you played yourself, first of all. But like, for whenever people are like, it's preference, it's preference, it's preference, I have been those people's preference, and it's gross. It's gross to hear them talk about dark-skinned women in that way. So no, it's not all about preference when these preferences are rooted in colorism. So yes, it matters. That is why preference matters. It doesn't matter every single time. And I also will say, like, I don't think every single black man who dates a white woman is colorist, especially if they have also dated black women, especially dark-skinned women. If they just like date all across the board, then that person isn't necessarily colorist. But you have to understand, there are so many black guys who like will literally only go for white girls. And like me, I would be like a very big stretch for them. Do you know what I'm saying? They might not like exclude me from their possibility of dating, but I'm like really pushing it. Like, I'm on the outskirts, you know what I mean? I'm not the target, but I'm maybe like on the outside, the periphery of what's possibly attractive. So that, yes, that is colorist. I don't know how you would say that it's not. No, not every single man who dates a white woman is colorist if they have already dated dark-skinned women. But is that usually the case? Be honest. Be honest. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on that. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm already sure that you will. Comment a purple heart if you watched till the end of the video, and make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you subscribe to my podcast, and follow me on Instagram, follow me on TikTok at Kira Bria. Everything will be down in the description below as always. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye.